So I'm excited to be here chatting with friends and colleagues in the Boston culinary scene, from an innovative nonprofit to the city's hottest new Thai bar with a James Beard nomination, to learn what it means to build a food business that's rooted in culture. Welcome my friends on stage for our panel. Great. I think you'll have a slide up with their wonderful photos so you get to have a chance to see who's here. So thank you so much for joining me on stage. We're friends, we're colleagues in the Boston food scene, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Students have been here all day learning about innovation, and we wanted to hear from each of you what the quick origin story is of your business. We'll probably start with you, Gerly. And you'll trade seats. Go ahead.
My intro?
Yes, sure. The quick origin story.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gerly Adrien, and I love ice cream. And so 7 years ago, I decided to start my own ice cream shop here in Somerville. And it's been a great opportunity, especially being a Black woman owning a business here in Massachusetts.
Great. Amber, and the images don't match the folks. We'll play musical chair in a few seconds. How about that? Let's just make sure we're seated as to our spaces. Yep. They're perfect. Musical chairs, impromptu, perfection. All right, go ahead. Amber, how about you?
Yeah, the quick version. So I am born and raised outside Chicago. I went to undergrad in Tennessee, grad school in Alabama, and I moved to Rhode Island in 2017 for my job at Brown, and could not find the Black people anywhere. And I really struggled to create community for myself, and so ultimately used my background in food science and my love for community to create a tea company. I grew up drinking tea. We had it in the house all the time. It brought me a lot of comfort, but allowed me space to be creative in a way that allowed me to also create community also. And so I launched the Black Leaf Tea and Culture Shop in 2019 as an e-commerce business and opened the Tea Cafe in 2023.
Thank you. And if you're ever in Providence, Rhode Island, definitely check out our tea shop. How about you, Boong?
Okay, my name is Boong. Good afternoon, and I own a restaurant called Mahaniyom, and Mirai Bar is in Boonak Village. It's like really close to here. I started Mahaniyom 5 years ago. Is the origin story is super simple for me. Is that when I live here in Boston, I miss home, and I miss good food, good drinks, and good vibes. So that's why how I start Mahaniyom as like a bar that have good food and great vibes. So that's 5 years ago, and now last year I opened a new concept that I always love. It's like a dive bar, but we call like Elevate Dive Bar. It's called Mirai. It's a 2-minute walk from Mahaniyom. It's in the Boonak Village as well. We got to be a best new bar on the James Beard finalist, and yes, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. How about give it up for him? A James Beard nominee. That's the Grammys of food, folks. That's the Grammys of foods. How about you, Mark?
So I co-founded Equitable. We're a food justice nonprofit. You heard a little bit about it from Andrea Catania, who did the talk earlier on. We co-founded, she's a BU alum, but we really believe in food as a human right. So we look at the food systems. We want food systems reform that looks like food systems that are co-designed with community, that are climate ready, that think about justice in a very actionable kind of way. So we're focused on consultant work, we're focused on advocacy work, but we're also focused on building public infrastructure that is free and open to the public. So the questions and the things that guide us is, where do we learn about food, right? Most of it is really everywhere and nowhere. It's super ad hoc. So we try to focus food as a catalyst for a change. And then also the beauty, the love, the care, the joy, the fun around food. It's not just focused on public meaning poor or for the needy. It's really spaces and places for everybody. So we're really, really excited. We saw a gap in the food system when it comes to nonprofits that are more than just direct services like food pantries or soup kitchens. Yeah. So we saw that gap, we saw that need, and we started in 2024, and it's been a really exciting journey.
Yeah, Thank you, Mark. And I have a consulting practice, food and folklore, and I primarily do cultural events, culinary event activations like this Boston Treat Party. So now we have heard from the panelists. I'd love to learn from each of you a little bit more about your BU experience. So we're mostly connected to BU in some way as graduates or innovative folks. So I wanted to learn from you, Boong, as a restaurateur with a background in economics and finance. Yeah. How have you used that BU experience, for example, to innovate, to manage your risk, and define success for you?
So just for me, well, I graduated here at BU in 2013 with the financial economics. So I want to put like these two words into combined to the restaurant. It's like a finance. It's like really helping me how to learn all the numbers, how to make like a good profitable for the restaurant. As you know that restaurant is a really thin margin. Yep. So definitely finance is always like help me like being a good number, like no cost, no cash flow. And combine is like to the restaurant, which is like it's really good, but nowadays you cannot run a good restaurant just only good food and good drinks. The hospitality is something that's my restaurant is really focused on. So we want to make sure that everyone feel like home, feel really comfortable when they dine there. That's like help me like between like a hospitality and finance, just like combine and make the restaurant in a successful. Yeah.
I love that. So it's money and care, right?
Yeah.
Take care of folks. So thank you for that. Amber, how about you? As a tea maker, now doing your master's in gastronomy, again here at BU, how have you used that academic experience to really build community, but also to do your work?
Yeah, so my time now at BU, this is actually my second master's. My first one is in food science at Alabama A&M. And so for me, it allows me to understand the technical parts and how to actually develop flavors. My concentration in my first master's was product development. So I am a flavor designer by trade. And so really using that to hone into how I actually build the flavors experience of it. So for me and my brand, I use tea as not just a remedy. I actually don't market it as a remedy at all. I market it as an elevated culinary experience. And so the same way that, in general, culinary arts is such an incredible form of art. I get to instance a memory or a feeling through a sip or a bite, and that's why I put it into a cup. And so for me, in my time now at BU as a master's student in the gastronomy department, I focus on food history and culture. And so really understanding how I make things, how I curate the spaces that I hold around my brand also, but ultimately really honing in on the communal traditions of tea to create a space that is creative and innovative as well, that makes it really like deeply personal to my customers also.
Yeah, thank you. And you'll have a chance later on to try some tea-based mocktails with Amber, so thank you for that. Gerly, ice cream. It's fall now, but in the summertime, you know, your experience is pretty diverse. You've been a politician, if I could share that. You did your degree here at Questrom, and now you're also in the tea space, and you're an academic. Like, help us understand the experiences that brought you to being a food innovator.
Yeah, I always thought I was going to be a lawyer. Wanted to major in pre-law and fell in love with this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad and said, okay, I want to build wealth. I want to have my own business. Yeah. And in doing so, I'm a daughter of Haitian immigrants. My mom every week would work in 2 to 3 jobs. She would take me to this ice cream shop. Every Thursday gave my brother and I $1, and I just fell in love with ice cream. And so in 2018, I had this idea of like, why don't I make my own homemade ice cream? At the same time, I enrolled here at Questrom to do my MBA. And then a year later, guess what happened? The pandemic. And it was one of the hardest times on running a business. We actually opened a second location, probably not the smartest, right here in Brighton, and it was hard. But again, I love ice cream. I love my customers. I love being able to go into the kitchen and be creative. Throughout these last 7 years, it's been a blessing to see the type of awards that we've gotten instead of being able to stand out. So for example, like we got Food Network magazine for our Earl Grey lemon ice cream. We got Boston magazine for best ice cream. And being in this space, there's not a lot of people who make their own ice cream. Yeah. And so it's been great to be innovative in doing that. And during all that, I was the first Black woman to get elected in the city of Everett, which is my hometown. Thank you.
Where'd you?
So I like to wear many hats and have fun.
Yeah, and just to kind of hone in, you're also an educator
Yeah.
for college-based students. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, somebody approached me and said I should be out there teaching. Never would have thought I would do it, and started off at Bentley University, got full-time opportunity there. But the only thing when I was teaching at Bentley, I wanted to teach a lot more students that looked like me. And so I got the opportunity to go teach at North Shore Community College. So
Right.
I teach there full-time right now, and it's been great to teach students not only about marketing, entrepreneurship, or business 101, but I get to teach them about how do you build wealth and what does it look like for you.
And you have the lived experience from the work you've done.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So we have a question. I mean, we're in the Boston food scene, and I've been here for about 20 years, and Boston food scene is both inspiring, but also a little bit challenging. What are some of the barriers that you've encountered? Access to capital, real estate costs, mentorship, any of the challenges you've had you want to share with the audience so they can also be aware? Who wants to take that?
I'll speak a little bit. As a bar owner, one of the challenges that we know about it, you also know about it, is the liquor license. That is one of the really hardest, probably hardest in the city. That to open the bar, you need to raise so much capital, and it's the amount of the number is just insane. It's how much? $500,000.
$500,000, yes, give or take.
To just require the liquor license. That's one of the really hard things for the challenging. That's for the restaurant and bar.
So infrastructure, yeah, thank you. Other folks?
I'll speak a little bit about
please.
food-based social enterprises. So obviously a little different than the rest of the panelists, but looking at the nonprofit space in Boston, there's a ton of nonprofits. So how do you differentiate yourself from some other nonprofits, but also create allyship opportunities, and think of food systems reform as a giant group project. So you have to know the players, who's doing things. You don't want to be in a silo doing the same things with somebody that's less than a mile away. So a big thing has been, how do you create convening spaces and opportunities for people that are working towards the same mission to come together, and then to also see where they fit into the system, into the piece. So we're trying to frame ourselves too as convening partners and thinking of fun and efficient ways of doing things that are a little bit more actionable. So not just talking about the problem, but putting action behind the talks. And then that looks like, I mean, the nonprofit complex, is very challenging because you're constantly going for grants and all these kind of opportunities. So we've also been exploring kind of mixed profit opportunities in the food space, potentially looking at commissary kitchens or other type of food incubator programs that we could incorporate into our portfolio, in addition to building public infrastructure that is free and open to the public. So we see some different kind of intersections in the approach to the work.
Thanks for that, Mark. And you really queued us up for the last two questions. How has partnerships and mentorships helped you refine your business or even open new doors for you?
Yeah, I'll take that. When I started my business, I did it with my boyfriend at the time. I thought it would be a great idea. I would be the business person and he would be the day-to-day. And we did that for 5 years. So during that time, he became my boyfriend, fiance, and my husband. So we were doing this partnership 50-50. But then, sadly, about 1.5 years ago, that partnership ended. We got divorced last year. And so that changed the aspect of the whole business. I thought he was going to take it on. And instead, he said no, he wanted to walk away. And so I had to learn this business by myself. And that was probably the hardest piece that I had to learn the last 2 years. But it was great. We still won some awards and got to learn more about how to manage employees, and decided to seek out some mentorship as well to kind of help me into this space to grow as a person who's doing it on their own.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've heard the word over and over, pivot, right? So evolve, pivot, take information in, evolve your business model as you need to. So that's a very personal story. Thank you for sharing that. But it really speaks to the idea of pivoting. Mm-hmm. Before we wrap, I'd love to hear from folks here. What would you tell your younger self, or someone, I think there are many someones in the audience, who might be thinking of an idea right now, maybe thinking of an idea they want to launch or have just launched? Any ideas or thoughts you'd like to share with them?
I think one thing I always tell people is that sometimes, and if not most times, a hobby can remain a hobby and does not have to become a business. A business function as a business, you have to make revenue. So oftentimes what I see from people that started off as just a hobby and they love to do it, something that's kind of relieve some stress and pressure. Once it becomes a business, they slowly start to build this resentment because it's not fun anymore. It's go time. You have taxes to pay, you got people to pay, you gotta show up and do TikToks and God knows whatever else. But I think really understanding what your why is and deeply sit in that. And one thing I recommend for people, and what I learned from my mentor also, understanding also what the difference between a mentor, a coach, and a sponsor. Oftentimes we have a mentor, it's kind of like they'll listen to you kind of cheerleading. A coach is going to actually really put you in those kind of spaces, and the funder and the sponsor is doing exactly that. They're sponsoring you. So there are 3 different categories. And so really being clear about what your why is, what your ultimate situation, your ultimate vision of that is, and then work your way back to where you are right now and see what you want to do. Is it true to yourself? Because oftentimes people lose themselves in their business and it's so easy to get to that space. And so sometimes if you enjoy doing it, stay in that. You do not have to turn every hobby, every fun idea into a business if it doesn't fit what you actually want for yourself.
Right, thank you. Any last words? Another person want to share? We're going to wrap.
Well,
Your younger
I'm
self.
just gonna,
Yeah.
well, don't be afraid to fail. So, and just, whatever ideas you want to do on your business in the future or you're thinking it, I recommend just try it, do it, and don't be afraid because that's like hold me a lot of time before I start doing this. So, yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you. So again, Gerly, Mark, Boong, Amber, and myself, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. They'll be in the audience for much longer. You can chit-chat, again, a non-for-profit based model as well as 3 brick and mortar spaces, very different models, but they're here to chat with you, to learn from you, and you can learn from them as well. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.